We should come up with a spooky name. Welcome to the Meandering
Movie Podcast.
Spooky Movie Podcast.
Funny how this is a section of your quiz back on you.
It's a Halloween episode. We're going to do two.
But why, Gary?
Because it's Halloween.
It's meandering
Spooky.
movies. It's meandering
Spooky.
movies. It's meandering
Spooky.
movies. So won't you lend an ear?
Right, what's the episode today, Gavi? Oh, and also we have Ryan here. Podcast
Ryan
pal.
is back. We decided that we like him enough. We thought, let's bring him back on.
We're going to ramp up the amount of
But-
Ryan you get episode per episode.
But here's the fun thing. He doesn't have any specialty knowledge this time. 'Cause
No, none.
This isn't DC based, so he gets to flounder at the deep end of the pool and...
Wait, you thought that shit I was talking was specialty knowledge?
Oh, yeah.
I just fucking
I was
love
Googling
DC.
some shit at the door. I just want something to do with my Mondays.
Good to have you on. Yeah, so what are we talking about?
Well, because it's Halloween,
part of-
or it's the October month,
We're
we've
gonna
decided
talk
that
about
we're going to do
the scariest
Christmas
film.
movies. So what's ever... No.
I was literally going to say Muppets Christmas Carol. Which, in my memory from being a kid, Muppets Christmas Carol and Ghostbusters 2 have a scene that I have merged together. So, Muppets Christmas Carol, we're Marley and Marley.
Yeah.
Woo!
Then they give
Michael Caine.
Michael Caine a
Michael
blowjob.
Caine.
Well, no, then there's a scene in Ghostbusters 2 at the beginning where the Ghostbusters are in court because everyone's accusing them of being fraudsters, and then these two electrified ghosts come up. But because of the courtroom setting, I don't know. I don't. If you put two pictures in front of me, I don't think I'd be able to tell you which one was Muppets Christmas Carol and which one was Ghostbusters 2.
Pretty sure the one with the Muppets.
Yeah, the one with the
No,
puppet.
because the you know we talked about this in Ghostbusters. Like the ghosts in Ghostbusters are borderline Muppets. They're
Some
fucking
of
weird
them.
looking. Yeah, and the two that are getting in the electric chair ghosts in Ghostbusters 2 look like Muppets. I'm gonna get a picture of them. You guys talk.
Okay.
Okay, so what we're actually going to talk about is the horror genre and how much Ryan is a big fan of the horror genre.
Yep.
So for some context, Ryan, tell them your thoughts on the horror genre.
I don't really have any thoughts on it. I don't like.
Yeah, but that's what, because we were talking earlier today about how we were going to, it's Halloween-y, we're going to do a horror episode, and you're like, I don't really watch horror movies. I haven't seen a lot of horror movies. And now my question is, why?
Okay, so these are.
Jesus Christ, I was in the middle of a question.
I was getting a bit interviewy though.
Well,
so-
I just thought before you go into your answer, they're definitely not Muppets. But as far as ghosts, like they look like Muppets. They look like spooky Halloween themed Muppets.
You want to say no first, or will I say no first?
Well, yeah, no.
This is great for an audio format, by the way.
All right, anyone who wants to know what I'm talking about, you can either search for Ghostbusters 2 Electric Chair or the Scoleri Brothers. And then Marley and Marley. Marley and Marley.
Why do you, on a
Ooh.
weekly basis, find a way to talk about something that is not audio friendly? If you want to start doing a video podcast,
These ones are Muppets.
Now you're showing. Okay,
That's definitely
yes,
the
those are
Muppets.
Marley
definitely
Marley
Muppets.
looked like they were drawn with several circles.
Marley and Marley, they're the Muppet. What are the Muppets' names? The Muppets, those two Muppets.
Statler and Waldorf.
Statler and Waldorf. Well known Muppet specialist.
Is
you,
there a-
you are half Muppet.
That is factually accurate.
If you didn't know, podcast listeners, Audio Boy is actually
Part Muppet.
Part Muppet. On mother's side, father's side.
No, my mum was a regular human being, and my dad was a felt rug.
That was her pet name for him.
Muppet. Not even a Muppet himself. Your mum's just been grinding on a rug that some homeless man jacked into.
I want to point out, I've met Audio Boy's mum. She's a lovely lady. I don't like this conversation.
I do believe she is, but she's got a thing for
Your
felt
mum, on the other
rugs.
hand, I'm sure she's a rug humper.
Rug muncher.
Well, you know, aren't we all at some point in our lives?
That's true. Horror movies.
Are there any
That
Muppet?
was pretty scary.
Are there any Muppet horror movies?
Christmas Carol.
Christmas Carol's pretty scary.
It's pretty scary.
Sure,
There's the giant Muppet.
but
that
it's a
comes-
Christmas movie.
It is Christmas. There's the Muppet Monsters.
Okay.
Well, that's the Muppets doing Monster Squad. Kermit's a Dracula. Miss Piggy's a Bride of Frankenstein. Oh fuck, you're putting me back here. Gonzo's just like a beast of some description.
You're the one that dragged us down this Muppet
Muppet-themed
path.
Muppet Road.
I was talking about Ghostbusters 2.
Which isn't a horror movie. Do you see my
Depends-
problem?
It really depends how old you are.
That's true. I mean,
Horror's an age-based concept.
that's an interesting point you brought up, which is that films from the 80s and 90s for kids were really not for kids.
Yeah.
And they were fucking terrifying. I
Oh,
always
yeah.
think back to Superman 3. You think, why? And I'll tell you why. There's a scene at the end of Superman 3 where one of the villainous women gets pulled into this machine thing and she gets cyborg implants like forced upon her. And then she loses like who she is, and then she just comes out as a cyborg monster thing.
Yeah.
And for some reason, sitting in my grand's house at age like 8, watching this, it just terrified me to the point where I couldn't sleep at night.
I mean, that sounds terrifying. That's why.
Yeah.
It was really quite unsettling.
But then it's on the flip side of that, you had, I think we talked about it fairly recently, you had the flip side of films that were that were quite grown up, aimed at kids. Hence the RoboCop toys, the Ghostbuster toys.
Yeah, I mean that scene in RoboCop when he gets the what do you call it, nuclear waste stuff dropped on him, and he turns into like the kind of slime monster guy,
Yeah.
and then the car hits him and
Bursts
just turns into
through him.
liquid. Like when he comes out, like oh, haunting, truly haunting.
I
It's
just had to check when The Mummy came out because I was really scared of that. But
Oh yeah,
I didn't want you to be like, yeah, it came out when you were 14. I was. I think I watched The Mummy when I was like 5 or 6,
It's
maybe
this-
6 or 7.
It's a scene with the scarabs that's
holy shit.
horrifying.
Yeah, those scarab things
No, the
are
scarabs
terrifying,
was
though.
fine. It was like the scene where it's like, you know how it's the 3 or 4 guys that open the sarcophagus. They're like who he needs to
yes.
get, and it's the scene when they're in the hotel in Cairo. And he's like blindfolded because he's already got like his tongue in his eyes,
And then he
and
takes
it's the
the
weird
blindfold off.
but like the creepy guy is like, and now he's going to take the rest. And see that, just that line, yeah, that scared the shit out of me like so much. And I was like awake for like 2 days.
2 whole days.
Yeah,
So what did you want to specifically talk about?
Horror. The
Just
genre.
in general, horror.
Yeah. Why?
Best and worst?
I mean, we can do best and worst because I could rattle on for yonks because I am.
did you say rap along?
I could rap along.
Go, do it. Do a rap about your favorite horror film right now.
Gavin is my name and I love some horror. Let's get spooky up in this.
Men on nothing really rhymes with horror.
Stunner.
Sauna, yeah. Let's get spooky up in this sauna. Horror? I don't know.
Frankenstein was Kermit. Miss Piggy was Bride of Frankenstein. Gonzo.
You've brought us
Gonzo
crashing
was
back down
I'm
to
just
the
while
Muppet.
I'm here, I just thought I'd say Fozzie Bear's some kind of werebear. Gonzo is a Dracula, and I don't know what that Muppet even is. Looks like a creature from the Black
Is it
Lagoon.
Philip's dad?
He's an animal.
It looks like a catfish with
Let's see it.
with Prince's face. Well, no, I can't show you because Gavin will get angry that
No, you
I'm,
can-
I'm doing a visual stimuli on an audio
Visual
podcast.
stimuli.
What the hell is that guy? A little pink one on the right there.
I've no
That's my dad.
You stole my joke. I made that. You're going to cut my joke out, aren't you? You prick.
Okay.
Yeah, so for context, I love horror. I watched a lot of horror from a very young age. People already know that I loved the movie It. I love Alien, all these kind of movies, etc., etc. Ryan, you're not a big horror person. You've not seen a lot of horror. And Gary,
I thought we were talking about Muppets, so I did all my research for the episode.
I swear to God, I'm going to strangle you with this microphone cord.
Yeah, all the research on the Muppets, that, you know, Big Bird, count. Oh, no,
Well,
wait.
they are Muppets, but they're Muppets from Sesame Street. It's a different.
Oh, you got owned.
different geography.
Don't you look silly now? This is embarrassing.
I don't look silly, as you've pointed out. It's a podcast, so I sound silly.
And Gary, you're...
I like horror. I like horror films. I've been waiting for the next horror film to give me a genuine.
What was the last
Frightened.
horror film you think you saw that gave you a genuine like?
The first Conjuring movie.
And that was quite some time.
That was
ago.
ages ago.
Yeah.
And then more recently, what horror films have I watched?
Hereditary. It's more like a psychological thriller.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. I haven't watched anything that I've gone away from and being that has chilled me to the bones.
And we all
I'm
know that
scared.
Chapter 2 is just a tragic, terrible comedy.
But then even the first one's not scary.
It's got some imagery that's a bit unsettling. But
Man, I still, I don't know. Not in the sense that I kind of came away thinking, because for me, there's horror in cinema, and then there's, and I suppose it's different person to person, but I think there's horror, and then there's jump frights.
yes.
And both of them, full of jump frights. And when you're pumped full of jump frights, it's easy to go, oh man, that film was so scary. No, it wasn't. No, it just made you loud noises and things jumping at the screen is always going to make you go, oh, the fucking hell, because we've got an evolutionary fight or flight reflex.
Yeah.
But horror, proper horror.
Audio Boys is definitely flight.
I'm flight, 100%, no chance.
Yeah, and we're all flight, Gav.
I'm pretty desensitized at this point.
You got The Thing, you got The Conjuring, you got, for me, the first Paranormal Activity, and then a bunch of other things from when I was younger. Alien, which leave you with a sense of dread and genuine horror. And I think what I mean by that, and it's different for different people, because Hannah, The Orphan, my partner Hannah, have you ever seen The Orphan?
I was about to say, what? Hannah's an orphan?
Hannah's an orphan, and no, my partner Hannah, when she was younger, watched The Orphan, which is about a little woman who pretends to be a 7-year-old girl or a 12-year-old girl and then gets adopted, and then she's crazy and she tries to murder her family. Hannah is fucking terrified of that, and for weeks couldn't sleep right because she just, I don't know, she's terrified of adopting a baby and it being a little human that's going to murder her.
I mean, it's kind of like The Omen and stuff like
It
that.
actually happened recently. Have you
She
seen
adopted
this?
a baby?
No. The couple in America adopted a Syrian refugee who was like meant to be 6. And then when they got him into the house, the little Syrian refugee started acting weird and speaking more and like doing things for themselves. And when the mum took her for a bath, she had like a full bush, and the mum was like, that's fucking weird. And then the little Syrian refugee started attacking them and trying to like hurt them with candle wax and knives and all sorts. So they went to the police. The police were like, look, it's your adopted daughter, you're just being fucking psychos. And after a huge court battle, they've got the Syrian refugee. I don't think it's from Syria, I'm making that, but I don't know where they're from. But they got
Thank you for committing to the Syrian refugee part for the entire story, and then at the end,
well, I know.
back.
I thought just in case I'm wrong, someone will call me up.
She's
but
Libyan.
they got the birth certificate, and yeah, she's like 30 years old.
30?
Yeah, she's
I thought you were going to
fucking-
say she was like 18 or something.
No, she's a fully grown. She's got dwarfism, but she's a fully grown woman, and she's just been having. I'll find the picture. No, I won't.
Because we've been over this.
We've been over this. I'll stop finding photos. But Hannah's terrified of the exact same thing happening. And yeah, I think horror. And that's what I'm saying. I haven't seen a film, and I don't know the last time I saw a movie that gave me a chill to the bone. You know?
I think the way it's been for me recently is the films that have like got into my head and unsettled me or stuck with me haven't been horrors. They've been like they've not presented themselves as horrors, but there's been an element to it that you didn't expect that just got into your head and just kind of like it just uneased you. To
I think it's the evolution of horror as a genre, yeah. Because so you look at you go back through it, and that's why The Thing and Alien, which we both love, are slow creeping horrors. And you go even further back, and horror films nowadays from the 60s are nigh on unwatchable because it's just long. Like The Shining's a great example. Actually, The Shining. If you try and watch that today, and you get told by everyone, "Oh, it's a masterpiece," if you watch that,
it is a masterpiece.
It is. But if you watch that today, after being, if you just grew up in the last 18 years and you watched The Shining and you'd watched, I'm trying to think of horror films that came out in the last 18 years that were good, The Conjuring, Paranormal Activity, you would be bored out your tits because you'd be waiting, because if people have told you that's a masterful horror and you're waiting for the jump frights and you're waiting for the, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Same as like Psycho and things as well. Like,
yeah, it's I mean, Psycho's an hour and a half of basically nothing and then one kind of horrifying scene at the end, and it's not even a horrifying scene, it's a silhouette of a woman getting stabbed.
And then the guy coming out dressed as his mum, and then the policeman running down the stairs backwards because they didn't have the budget to have him fall down the stairs.
It's a great movie. Go watch Psycho, everyone. I stand by it. Yeah, that's interesting. Like I just this past weekend went back and watched The Exorcist 3 because
what? The third Exorcist?
Yeah, there's a lot of them. The first one's a classic, a masterpiece. The second one is horrendous dog shit. The third one is like maybe better than the first one.
Kind of like Starship Troopers.
No, not really. Nothing like Starship Troopers.
I mean, Starship Troopers 1 is enjoyable.
Starship Troopers 1 is great.
You could say
it's
it's
an underrated sci-fi
classic.
like golden gem.
The second one is dog shit.
And then after that, they continue to just be dog shit.
No, number
They're
three-
straight to DVD dog shit.
Number 3 has been spoken of as better than the original.
That's not
'cause
humanly
Rico,
possible.
Rico comes back, so
I don't give a fuck if Rico comes back. He can't stand up to the first one. The first one is brilliant.
then I think the
I
fourth
think it's
one.
Paul Verhoeven who did it.
Fourth one's mad. Barney Stinson's in
Who
it.
also did like Robocop and stuff
I'm
like
not
that.
We
getting
need
involved.
you.
What?
No, is it we need you? No, would you like to know more? There you go. That's
Yeah.
it.
Neil Patrick Harris,
No Patrick
who
Harris.
recently just got cast in the 4th Matrix movie,
I've seen that.
which I don't know how to feel about.
Keanu Reeves is back.
So is Jada Pinkett Smith, apparently, because
Is is Anderson? What the fuck? Hugo Weaving?
don't know.
I was gonna say Niall Blomkamp. there.
He's the director. District
The
9.
Afrikaans director.
I mean,
Yeah, he's in.
I mean, he was recently supposed to be doing the remake of RoboCop, but now he's not doing it.
What the remake?
That would have been weird as fuck.
He would have been great at that. Like,
Yeah.
but-
Sci-fi's his jam, right?
I can't remember what I was going to say now because you.
We're talking about the horror
Exorcist 3.
evolution.
So yeah, I recently went back and watched Exorcist 3 because if everyone watches the Red Letter Media guys, they were talking about it. And I'm like,
Pazuzu.
that's the second one.
That's the first one as well.
Pazuzu. Yeah, but it's the second ones that are funnier. The scene when he says "I'm Pazuzu" is hilariously bad. I am Pazuzu. But yeah, because of them, they inspired me to go watch Exorcist 3. And watching it, like I hadn't seen it in so long, but it's for me still so great because I can just appreciate the attempts at horror in that movie. But anyone who's never seen it now, if they sat down to watch it, they'd probably find it kind of comical because of just there's some scenes that just the way they play out just looks silly.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't really hold up to a general audience today because that film it's a kind of incredible character study of its main characters, and there's these great interviews with the demon itself from the first movie, and the actor who portrays it's incredible. He was in a lot of Star Trek after that. I can always
Oh,
bring
is
it
he?
back.
What a fucking surprise.
He's a great actor, though. Yeah, it's an incredible character study. It's very slow. There's one jump. There's a moment in the film that has a jump scare where the lead up to it lasts for like maybe 8 minutes, where you're just following this nurse going up and down, like doing her rounds and stuff, and you kind of settle in. You're like, okay, well, like what's going to happen? Then there's like a trick at one point, like it's going to be a jump scare, and it's not. And the scene goes on and on and on, and then you kind of like forget about any scares, and then when it finally happens, it's fucking like it's still got me this time because of like just the noise that comes from it and like the imagery. It's like it's so great. But to a general audience today, they would go and watch that and be like, can we get on this? I'm bored. Where's the jump scares?
Yeah.
The
This
whole
is silly.
build-up thing, though, like that's you. Like on the first watch, like a lot of horror films are made for your first watch.
Yeah, totally.
So you watch them and you're shit, that was scary. Then you watch them the next time and you're sitting going, yeah, I know the jump scare's coming, but it's at least 8 minutes of nothing away.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
feel like-
that's, you're not wrong, and
then-
that's where old films do struggle because,
Yeah.
and especially because older movies were for an audience that weren't desensitized to it yet as well.
Yeah.
So you can get away with an
They
8
hadn't had
minute.
Saws and Hostel
Saw
and
and-
Texas
and-
Chainsaw Massacre 3D.
Yeah,
And the news, like you see shit,
And
like
yeah, the
you
news.
see more go to your stuff on like on just general TV now than you
You
saw
can just
in
watch like an
horror
Amazon
films.
Prime show, and it's just like The Boys, for example. The violence in that is fucking out. It's insane.
Yeah.
And then you go back and watch like a horror movie from the 70s or 80s. It looks antiquated and silly, and like
And
Terminator
it's the
2 was
reactions as well, isn't it? It's the acting from back then.
yeah, it's a lot more hammed up because
It's
it's a lot
so
of theatre
hammed
acting
up,
instead
yeah.
of like actual film acting.
Totally. So and then you kind of move into the, I want to say 80s. 80s had their kind of monster boom, didn't they? Where there was loads of monster films. There was The Blob. There was the original It. Kind of all these.
Yeah.
Stephen King was
Your
was
big four was
going
that all
up.
in the 80s? Like Jason, Freddy Krueger.
That would
Yeah.
be between the 80s and 90s.
yeah. So you got all these monster films which are blending the monsters with horror, and then gore started getting added in, and I think that was Freddy Krueger mainly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but then
Hellraiser
gore
as well was
became-
pretty
Oh, yeah,
cool.
fucking
Evil Dead,
Hellraiser.
Evil Dead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like gore became such a huge part of your horror film that then it became almost more about how gory can you make this, and oh wait, people really like the jump frights, so Evil Dead came out, and I think. Is it the first one? First one or the second one? Raimi was like, yeah, we never wanted to use the same color of blood. So every single time something gets exploded in those films, which is a lot because it's
Yeah.
Raimi and it's Evil Dead, the blood is never red. It's green, it's black, it's blue, it's a shade of purple. You know what I mean? But it's never red. It's a nice
There's
little
that
bonus.
great story that Kubrick told about Shining, where like he was trying to he took the film to the MPA to get his rating.
I've seen this.
And then the scene happens where all the blood comes out of the lift.
The lift.
And they're just like, well, this is an NC-17. It's like, well, that's my movie Killed. No one's ever going to see it. So he literally took the film back to the editing room, changed it so it looked brown, sent it back to the MPA, and they went, cool, R, and sent it out.
Told him it was rusty water.
Yeah, just told it was rusty water. And then the movie came out with just totally red blood and just completely tricked the MPA. But then the movie was what it became to be and didn't ever...
Different ending, though. You know that?
Yes.
You know that?
Yeah.
So for anyone that doesn't, the book ends with the entire hotel exploding because Chekhov's gun, the landlord tells him, or the owner of the hotel is like, make sure you check that boiler once a week or whatever the fuck it is, and he goes crazy. Old Jack Torrance doesn't check it, and it creeps up and it blows up everything.
And just to let Stephen King know, because I know he's listening, Stanley Kubrick's The Shining is much better than your book, so just get over it.
Well, you missed like that's talking about the most traumatizing things from the It films. They missed that out because the most traumatizing thing from the It book is that all the little boys have sex with the little girl.
That's a book that, or a lot of his stuff at that time was just fueled by drugs and alcohol and just no inhibition. Just
And not knowing when to stop writing.
Yeah, not knowing to just give it up. But it's interesting you bring up The Shining because we now have the upcoming situation where they're doing a sequel to The Shining. Dr. Sleep with Ewan McGregor.
Playing Danny Torrance.
Yep, playing the boy Red Ram. Apparently that actor is also going to have like a cameo in the movie at some point. And they're going to have something with the two little girls as well. Okay, you're continuing to do Red
Do you know who that is?
Who's that?
That's my friend,
Oh, is that your friend?
Tony. He lives in my mouth.
Does he?
Red Ram.
Okay, cool.
I love The Shining.
The Shining's amazing. I love The Shining as well. Do you know what I don't love? This sequel they're doing that just looks like absolute jump scare trash.
Yeah.
The trailer looks pretty fan servicey as well. Like,
Oh, it's just like when they show the hotel and stuff. And they, like,
How much of the actual film is going to be set in the I'm banking 5 to 8 minutes.
also,
max.
why have they chosen the color scheme of just grey?
Color Scream was good though. It was
Color
fun.
Color Scream?
The movie looked just so grey and nothing. And
It also adds such a weird element of
yeah, the stuff.
So The
was-
Shining's about a guy, and then ghosts are real, and you can accept that telepathy is real between key individuals. And now, adding on to that, there's also telepathy vampires.
Yeah, they brought in. I don't.
But
I watched that trailer and I'm just like, what the fuck? I mean, I'm sure it plays into the book that Stephen King wrote, which again is probably just shite.
Yeah.
Because it's Stephen King.
Probably plays into like 10% of the book, which knowing Stephen King is like 1,000 pages.
Yes. But it's just like, no one. I always say this when it comes to these movies like this, or like with the Joker movie and stuff.
And just to,
no one asked
for anyone at home, Gavin was rubbing his temples and trying
my temple was-
trying to get this sentence out.
And I'm like, see, when you say I always say this in the podcast, is this something about Star Trek?
No, but I'll get back to that at some point. Who was sitting there? Were any of you sitting around? Audio Boy, have you seen The Shining?
No.
Then you were never thinking this because you've never seen The Shining. For us who have seen The Shining, were you ever sitting around going, do you know what? I'm really, really just wanting a sequel to The Shining with Ewan McGregor.
I want to know what happened to
I want to
Danny
know what
Torrance.
happened to the little boy.
I want to know what happened to the
afterwards.
O'Halloran family after
know-
the dad gets
I want to
unceremoniously
see
killed.
what
Yeah.
the architectural degradation of that hotel looked like over the years. So show me it. And it's like, no one fucking wants this movie.
Yeah.
Why are they doing it?
Also, I don't understand why the hotel's gone presumably bankrupt and run
I mean,
down.
it's haunted and full of death.
No, fine, but
And
after The
elevators full of
Shining,
blood.
because they're going to link us. Well, after what happened with Mr. Torrance, nothing happened. If you think about it, what did he do? He smashed a door and then froze in a hedge.
He killed that dude.
He killed O'Halloran.
Yeah.
That's one guy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I
That
guess-
wouldn't ruin our
Yes, he doesn't
hotels.
count.
Loads of hotels have got at least one dead
It was
death.
the 70s and he was black and he was help. So no, that won't have done anything. It shouldn't have done.
That'll have only boomed participation in visiting the hotel.
What, they killed a black guy there?
Yeah, that's what he said, not
Where's
me.
where's The Shining based?
Colombia? No, it's not Colombia.
Probably not, then.
It's near the mountains, isn't it?
Yeah, because he's up in the
Pass.
pass. I didn't know we could do that.
Yeah, Chris can.
Okay.
Near
Fast
the
pass
near
to
the
you,
mountain
Gavin.
pass.
Near the mountain pass. Here, movie quote.
Okay. Don't remember asking, but give me it.
No, it's a puzzle.
Oh, I love them.
You'll like this as well. So this is a famous movie quote from the noughties.
Okay.
Why
And I'm gonna
so
give you
serious?
I'm going to give you it as a as a statement, and you need to figure out what the quote is in response. It's like a question. So the question is, what the teachers told the children who were failing their class.
Matilda.
No, what's the line from the famous movie?
Oh.
Famous line. One of the biggest lines from one of the biggest films of the last 18 years. What did the teacher say to his kids when he thought they were going to fail?
You're doing a super bad job.
And that's how Superbad started.
You shall not pass. Get it? I'm going to come back with that next week. I'm going to give you another one. Or not. Because
The
I never-
Shining was set in Oregon.
Oregon.
Columbia, close.
Am I close?
Nope.
My American geography.
Your
kaput.
general geography.
Kaput.
Your
I know Mexico's at the bottom. I know Canada's at the top, and I know Florida's on the east coast. And
Southeast.
fucking still east.
Florida's got a location that has East in the name.
Yeah, it's good for me. Couldn't tell you what's on
I
the
watched
West
the
Coast.
episode of Friends today where Ross has to write down all the states. Or he
Yes.
doesn't get Thanksgiving dinner. And I was thinking about it, and I was,
Was
like,
it a piece of cultural comedy gloriousness? Because the Friends is obviously amazing. Did you laugh out loud while watching the episode?
oh no, because it's the same as horror films. I've seen it already. I probably laughed the first time, but now we just
Did you laugh the first time though?
Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes, mainly the things Chandler says, because I'm just laughing, going, ha, I say stuff like that.
Sarcasm.
Usually to Gavin.
Thank you. In the last 19 years,
Why are we doing film blocks in such weird amounts of time, like 18 and 19 years?
because I'm thinking,
Because we're not quite at the 20-year mark.
because after the 80s and 90s, is there much horror to talk about?
So then this is it. So after the 90s, going into the noughties, I think we then hit the, what was it? Biggest thing that happened in the noughties was probably Paranormal Activity.
That was at the tail end of the noughties, though. That was like 2010.
Yeah.
that
So
movie
everything
came
before that was
out.
just
I think,
kind of
like,
riffing into
the
the
Hostels, the Saws, the
Yeah,
Hills
we-
Have I remake,
Slither. And
28 Days Later.
28 Days Later.
Oh,
That's-
fuck the zombie
The Ring?
boom. That's what we
Yeah, I
forgot
guess,
about.
yeah.
We had the Japanese remakes and we had the zombie boom, which was
Did you mean
early
the remakes of
noughties.
Japanese horror movies? The American remakes of
American
Japanese
remakes of
horror movies?
Japanese horror
Like
movies,
The Ring and stuff like that.
and zombies. Ring, Grudge, Cell,
Final Destination.
Oh, Final Destination.
We don't call that a
That's
horror
kinda
movie.
Well, that goes under gore.
It's
It goes
definitely
under
in the
gore.
horror category.
It's in the horror category, but it's definitely more of the gory.
It's a subgenre.
God, those
I
movies are
fucking
bad.
love Final Destination films, though. I've watched every single one, and I want to go and do them again
Love
because
that
they're
just before you said that, I went, God, those movies are bad.
no, they're great. They're absolutely great. They're the worst kind of great, though.
They're the karma ones, right?
Yeah, no, they're the ones where you cheat death.
Yeah, the karma ones.
Well, it's not karma.
It basically is.
Well, it's not karma because if me and you were on that
I love how
plane,
you just kept it. It's not karma until you just stopped talking.
but it's not because if me and you were on the plane, I'm a great person. You're mediocre, and I would say all three of us were there. Gavin's obviously terrible.
Oh, thank you.
It's
I love
okay.
how you were going to go on for it. He's terrible, and then you backed off. Thought, no, I'll pick him down instead.
I'll go
Yeah,
with the
you're new.
narrative.
He doesn't know
All
you
three
enough
of
yet
us are
to
on that
insult you.
plane. I don't get out. I don't get out because I'm a good person. My karma's not high enough. Death's coming for all three of us. And the way it's going to get you is a pencil will fall off of the curtain pole and it will land on the electric socket, and then the electric socket will set fire to the TV, and then as that's happening, a bird will hit the window, and the window pane will knock the TV, shattering it into a million pieces, which will all go into your face, because nothing happens easily in those films. It's
From my
always
understanding,
a Rube Goldberg machine of nonsense to get
from a YouTube
someone shattered.
channel that Phil and I watch called Pretty Much It, everything comes down to the wind blew it.
That's what usually, well, it's death, doesn't it? Death's touch.
It just looks like the wind just blew something, and then it,
Yep.
It'd really take it away if they put death in it, though, wouldn't it?
yeah, it's like
That'd make it an 80s horror film.
was it got if they got death from Bill and Ted in it, then that makes it an even better fucking
That would
film.
be phenomenal. I'm down for that.
He's just playing Connect 4, but with their lives.
I like the idea of the Final Destination where it's a group of 12 people that get out, and then you, for the rest of the film, you just have to watch them all get hit by different cars in different places.
What's fun though, watching Final Destination, every single one of them is like a masterclass in foreshadowing, which is great. Not great foreshadowing.
I wouldn't use the word masterclass,
Pretty obvious.
but okay.
But it's like if you wanted to show, if you were teaching kids, like, hey, this is how you do foreshadowing in a film.
You're already
This is-
breaking the law because you're showing them Final Destination.
I was like, kids, this is how you plan a
Look
murder,
at
but
this.
make it look like something else.
Yeah, but you'd be like, this is how I'm going to show you what foreshadowing is. The best way to do it is by flooding your senses. Then I'll teach you more nuanced versions of it. But Final Destination, any of them, like the second one, at the beginning, a bus goes by and all the kids are shouting, "Burn Mustangs, burn!" Which is like on the side of their bus, the Mustangs. It's their school team, and then the person,
Go Tigers.
the person that looks across at them ends up getting burned to death because their Mustang explodes. Like, and if you watch them, there's just so much. In the first one, a teacher bends over to put some stuff in the dishwasher.
Oofed.
Then the scene plays out, and it does like the fake out, and you think she's going to get a hand stuck in the food incinerator in the sink, and then the kettle, she's putting it up high or some bollocks like that. You think she's going to boil herself to death, whatever. And then eventually a knife lands in her back and it kills her. And then if you watch the scene again, when she bends down to put the stuff in the dishwasher, she's got a stained glass on her door which has a knife in the middle of it, and the knife's going into her back. So like the films are chock full of foreshadowing, and they're just fun. It's just like they're just good. They're good enjoyment. I like Final Destination. I'll
It's
stand
have a
up
couple
for
of
it.
bevs of your pals and just laugh at the.
Oh, totally. Yeah. No, don't watch them if you want to be scared.
That
Watch
doesn't
them
look like a
because
very good
it's
horror film to me.
Fun as fuck. Yeah, it's great.
I think that's
Sorry,
maybe.
sorry, I'm just gushing about Final Destination.
I was going to say that's something that maybe all horror franchises become after a while, because you look at like Friday the 13th,
Friday the 13th.
or you look at Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yep.
I mean,
Freddy Krueger.
even the fucking Alien movies, when you get to
best
AVP
ones.
and stuff like that. I'm sorry, the best ones? AVP?
Alien 4, the best one.
We're not doing this again. We're not having this conversation for an 8th time. It's not a good movie.
It's great.
It's
I was
shit.
mainly annoyed they didn't just keep, instead of naming them like with numbers, they just didn't keep adding extra S's on the end.
Aliens. I'm watching the Alien through to Aliens movies tomorrow
Oh,
night.
I love when you get to that's a really good one, but it's it's like starts to really give up. Yeah, but with all these franchises, like
They all, what's the jump the shark? That's
they
the
jump
term,
the
isn't it?
shark and they stop becoming horror movies and then just become farcical.
I don't know who. I think was it Evil Dead that did it first.
Yes, because it's
Evil Dead 1 came out pure horror. Evil Dead 2 came out, which was a weird remake of the first one, but it wasn't. It was its own
kind
thing.
of weird, and it's
But Raimi
it's-
injected it full of comedy, still horror, but full
but it was
of
his
comedy.
style of horror comedy.
Yeah.
And then after that,
Well, it's. I mean, there are so many Three Stooges jokes throughout the entire Evil Dead 2 movie.
and Bruce Campbell in that second one is just
He's phenomenal.
he's gone. Like,
just chewing up all of
Yes.
the scenery,
And then-
spitting it out, and then chewing it up a little bit more.
and then after that, they're just like,
And then 3 is batshit.
because I
fucking
think they
mental.
realised like, oh, we've got Bruce Campbell who's
The
comedic
king of
timing-
one-liners.
Yeah, king of one-liners. His comedic timing is great. Why are we keeping him stuck in this kind of horror scariness? Let's just have fun with this character
true.
and just take him off on adventures and put chainsaws on his arms.
Have you
and,
seen Evil Dead 1, 2, and 3?
I've not, but I know the basis of it.
Evil Dead 1 and 2, in a cabin, 6 characters max, and they all get eaten by demons. Then the third one, at the end of the second one, Bruce Campbell's character decides to read from a book to banish all the demons. And then as he closes the book, the portal opens, it's massive, and he gets sucked through it. And then it just sends all the demons back to the 1800s, medieval times, with his car. So he then becomes like the leader of their army to
Yeah.
fight the army of the undead. But he's got a chainsaw hand, and then he builds himself a robot hand,
Yep.
turns his car into a fucking tank. It's fucking crazy.
It's insane.
My favorite one-liner though in Evil Dead 3 is when his girlfriend gets turned into an evil demon monster, and she's flying at him, and she goes, "Ah, you said you'd always love me!" And he just pulls out his gun and goes, "Baby, that was just pillow talk." Just blows her to fuck. Man, Evil Dead 3 is phenomenal.
Not as good as the first one though.
It depends what you're looking for.
It's a different film.
I'm looking for horror. That's true. It's a very different film. And that's the thing. That if you look at the Nightmare on Elm Street films, you're just thinking of more quotes from
I'm
the
just,
movie, now, aren't
sorry,
you?
I wanted to do more, but I'll just sit here and quote Evil Dead 3 for the next 10 minutes. I won't.
You'll just cut it all out anyway.
Guy's just going to show us pictures of quotes from each of them.
Well, all right, fine. Last one. When he's burying his evil doppelganger, so one of the demons makes a copy of him. he kills the demon or gets him. No, he chops him up, doesn't he? Kills him, chops him up because you can't kill the demons, and he throws him into a grave. And the head of the demon's like, "Hey, I'm gonna swallow your soul." And then Bruce Campbell just shovels a pile of dirt onto him, and it hits him in the face. And the demon's like, "Ah! Stop that!" Dirt all over his face, trying to talk through his monologue. Brilliant, love it.
Any more?
No, I'm good.
Do you want to just drop them in throughout the episode as we go?
I think I will.
Like if anything inspires a quote, you just kind of like.
I'll just do another one.
Okay.
I'll just do another one.
You'd look at your watch to see how much time you got to make quotes.
Yeah, pretty much. That's the plan.
So anyway, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Another quotable
Yes.
nonsense. Like that turned into, oh, in this dream, he's going to be on a motorbike. And then the motorbike turns into Freddy Krueger. And then Freddy Krueger's going to make a joke about speed and then ram him into a wall.
I mean, there's the great one was like he brings over a pizza. It's all the friends are meatballs or pepperoni or something. They're like, help us, no, don't eat us. And it's like, oh fuck. What is the first one? The first one's like a genuinely scary film.
Yeah.
Because it's like
It's got
you can't
gore.
escape him
I
because
think it's got
inevitably you have to fall asleep.
A few weird one-liners.
There are some weird one-liners, but
but it aims to be a horror.
the deaths in that movie are like just savage.
Johnny Depp's
in it.
bloody bed ceiling
so
thing.
good. Plus, it's that classic 80s of like all the hot girls just like wander around in no clothing, and then they just have horrific deaths, and all the jock guys are like trying to get their rocks off, and then they just have horrific deaths. And Freddy's just a
having
comedian,
horrific deaths.
but also terrifying because he's in your dreams, and it's great.
Do you know who, if they rebooted it, do you know who they should get to play Freddy Krueger now? Because
Well,
Robert Englund died, didn't he?
No, he's still kicking about. He just doesn't want to do it anymore.
Okay. Jim Carrey.
They rebooted it.
Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey is Freddy Krueger. Imagine that.
Did you two talk about this beforehand, or did you just like?
No, I said it. He heard it, but you weren't
Oh,
listening.
okay.
No,
sorry.
yeah, Gary said Jim Carrey, and I said Jim Carrey.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Question mark?
I was just gonna like they did reboot it, but the guy who played Rorschach from Watchmen to do it.
That would be fucking.
Well,
Oh no! Wait,
they did do
They
it.
did that,
And it was
No,
like-
I was
I-
gonna say that would be really good, but then I remembered I saw that movie
And it's
and
not
I
good.
fell asleep because it was so fucking poor.
How
It's
ironic
really
is
bad.
that?
Yeah, right.
Imagine you died in your sleep, you'd be so pissed.
It's like, how did he die? He went to see Nightmare on Elm Street at the
He
cinema.
fell asleep
asleep.
and he
And everyone's like, doo 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 doo.
the person sitting next to him just
Well,
said
that's
that
The
cuts
Exorcist.
started to shred all over his body. Fuck! Imagine that news story though. That would go.
That would be
Also, I would never like. I know you, so I'm connected to you. I'd never sleep again.
because I'm coming for you.
No, he's coming. If you come for me in my sleep, I'm just like, fuck off. I'm sleeping. You stop. You bugged me in real life. Can I at least
Okay,
have some peace
Gavin.
while I sleep?
Sorry.
And then you show up in Audio Boy's dreams. You'll just go on like a car ride together and have a picnic.
Yeah.
We'd have a great time.
Have a bowling.
Especially if Gary gets to wear that swell jumper. It's a good green and red striped look.
Oh yeah, that
No,
one.
I
I
thought
think
you
in
were-
this one.
I thought you were complimenting his actual jumper.
No, because Gary and Gavin, that would be a visual. And we don't do that.
We don't
Thank
do
you.
visuals. Don't do visuals.
Thank you. There was an episode of Star Trek once.
Fuck
Well, I'm
off.
just kidding.
So then we move into late
I think
noughties,
90s. I think the biggest horror film of the 90s, I'm definitely going to be forgetting some, but would be the Scream movies. Where like,
Yeah.
those were like
Well,
that
they
first
were,
one.
See, are
Did
they
you not hear
horror?
what I said
They're
about the
thrillers.
mummy?
Okay, yes, the first Mummy was such
Not
a good,
scary at all.
No, it's like a good like adventure movie with horror elements.
Yeah, yeah,
Which is
I'd say
great.
that. It's like
The
it's,
second one
Indiana
is just-
Jones that tries to give you a fright. in.
Yeah, like like Temple of Doom's a great kind of like horror / adventure movie. It is.
It's not. I wouldn't say it's a great film.
Well, we're not doing this again because we've had this conversation 90 times.
What's the best Indiana Jones?
The
First
first
one.
one,
Okay.
followed by the third, then the fourth, which
think-
is terrible, and then number two, which
I
is
think
the
the third
worst.
one's the best.
I mean, I would argue it's between the first and the third. Like,
The third one is
Yeah, I
so
have no
good.
problem.
like the dynamic
No problem with
between Harrison Ford and Sean Connery, perfect.
5 years difference between them.
I know, it's crazy.
Yeah, funny. But in the film, they did not look like 5 years of difference.
No.
Nah,
But then there's the bit where like
Connery
they're
aged.
they're tied to the chair in the fire, and then it turns out that they both shagged that spy woman.
Yeah.
You're like because obviously Harrison Ford's like, oh yeah, it was a great night, and then Sean Connery's like, yeah, it was.
At that moment, they should have a great high five, but tied to chair. And can't.
do most father and sons having sex with women parents high five?
I don't know. I never had a father, so I wouldn't know.
I've never had sex.
I
Gary?
finger my bum.
What?
That's how I get
He
my
had,
rocks
to,
off.
he had to say something worse than what we'd say.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with fingering your bum. If you like fingering your bum, you go nuts. You finger your bum. Not for me personally, but you know, each their own.
You looked directly at me when you asked me to say something gross and went for the old finger up the pooper.
Up the pooper.
Up the pooper. So then we get to the naughty, the like naughties and the tens. Scream, I would class as a thriller, personally. I think it's less horror.
Sure.
It's got a few jumps.
Also, we have to blame Scream for giving us the scary movies.
And then we have the scary movie. Ugh. But then, yeah, naughties and tens, Paranormal Activity hit, which, for me, because I love it, and I can't remember, did you like the first one or not?
Oh, I can't stand those movies.
You hate them.
I
But
think
have you seen the first one?
I've seen first two.
So, but the first one, I stand by it. The first one came out, did the found footage thing
Wait,
well.
stop. We never talked about the Blair Witch Project.
Well, that's because it's...
I'm sorry.
Blamp.
I'm sorry.
Blamp.
The Blair Witch Project was an event in horror history that changed the game, I feel.
It changed cinema.
It changed cinema with marketing, found footage, and
Yeah, brought the found footage to
it
us.
introduced people, because by that point, snuff films were well and truly gone, thankfully.
Yeah.
But it reintroduced people to the idea of snuff films.
Great episode of Inside Number 9, the Christmas one.
I agree. I've seen all of that now. I'm up to date. Have you seen Inside Number 9?
No, should I watch it?
Absolutely, you should watch it.
This is really just a podcast of me telling you stuff I've not seen.
Okay.
It's
Have you
like
seen
It's funny.
It's like Roald Dahl's Tales of the Unexpected. So there's like a blend
Alright.
of comedy, some hard-hitting ones, some horror elements.
and
Like,
then Black Mirror-esque.
yeah,
stuff
it's
as well.
great.
Who's
It's
in
an
it?
anthology.
It's the two guys from League of Gentlemen.
Oh, sound. Okay.
So,
It's really good though.
Sounds good.
But yeah.
but the Blair Witch Project was that kind of in the 90s. I think was one of those touchstone moments.
So I was too young when it came out. My mum and dad came back from the cinema, and I remember the night they came back. Mum was, and dad just was like, "Yeah, it was fucking shite."
And I see where you get that from, Gary.
And I didn't watch it until I was older, and I think I'd seen other films, and I just kind of went,
Did you want to think it was like? Do you reckon if your dad hadn't said it was shite that you'd have liked it? I think it's a real deep-rooted
Because
psychological
I had
thing.
my mum freaking out about it. So I had my mum freaking out, and dad going, "It's fine. It's not."
Did
a
you
big deal."
see Blair Witch Project 2?
Well, the same exact same thing happened to Gavin when his mum was like, his mum really liked it, and his dad said, so that's why he really liked it.
Joke of the show.
Purposeful pause.
The
Don't
Blair
cut
Witch
that by accident. I know how you cut. You're just like, oh, there's a dead silence, so I'll just.
I mean, if
chop
you
that
want to
out.
extend that silence, you go nuts.
45 minutes, like a Stephen King book. Fucking make that silence last.
The Blair Witch Project. Blair Witch Project? Am I saying that?
Blair Witch Project.
No, the Blair Witch.
Blair Witch Project.
Why have you said it so many times now? That
I don't know why.
Shoe.
The
Shoe.
Blair Witch.
Shoe.
The
Shoe.
second-
I think shoe's the weirdest word, and it gets the weirdest quickest.
No, I think it's gum. Gum.
No, shoe.
Gum.
Shoe.
Gum.
What the fuck is this episode?
Yeah, the second one's great because in the second Blair Witch movie, Blair Witch Project, I don't know, I can't remember, is it Blair Witch Project or just Blair Witch?
men
Blair
will let
Witch
you say something so many times and then you can't say it anymore. But funny, you can still say Star Trek.
I know, I just can't stop.
It's the Blair Witch Project.
Funny you bring that up, actually. There was an episode... No.
An episode of Star Trek.
The episode of Sturgerperp.
In the second Blair Witch Project movie, the kids watched the first movie, and then because they watched the first movie, they then start getting haunted by the Blair Witch. And it's kind of like plays
That's
in
nice
it.
meta.
But it was directed by a guy who did like 90s music videos, and so the film is just absolute trash. There is like a director's cut by someone else, I think. It's actually quite good.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's worth giving a go.
My absolute favorite thing that the Blair Witch Project spawned is, I don't know if you've seen these. Cartoon Network released them. Somebody did Blair Witch Project with the Scooby-Doo gang.
Really?
Man, I remember it from a kid, and I only ever seen a couple of them. Like the
Scooby Doo.
beginning.
Goddamn, I can get on board now.
The first 5
Now you can
minutes.
talk.
But I went back and found it. I'll try and find the link for you, man. And I went back
Elven
and found it and
Doo.
rewatched it. It is genuinely so fucking good. And as a kid, it's scary as fuck.
It's good you bring up Scooby-Doo, because you know what doesn't get appreciation? The Scooby-Doo Zombie Island movie.
What,
The animated one?
the animated one,
Oh yeah, with the is that the one with the
John Cena.
werewolves? in it?
Yeah, there's werewolves and
There's
stuff in it,
werewolves and
there's zombies.
vampires in it,
And it's
they go and
such-
it's so good.
It's so good. And it's kind of like for a kid, it can be scary. I mean,
Yeah.
Scooby-Doo in the original iteration was kind of scary for kids.
Back in the day,
There's an
well, it
episode of
had-
Scooby Doo that really scared me as well. A
It
guy
had
was
the
like
brand
a,
of 60s, 70s horror where it was
Yeah.
slow creeps and then and zoom ins on monsters.
When I was really young, I watched a Scooby Doo, and it was like a guy who was a fawn, so he dressed up as.
A fawn.
Yeah, like goat legs, horns, and stuff.
Right,
And it really
cool.
scared the shit out of me. And then both my brothers watched. They were both younger. Watched Scooby Doo after me because Scooby Doo is like
Been around since
only
the
Fools and
beginning of
Horses. They're
time.
still playing that now. And like the youngest brother got so obsessed that he used to watch it all the time, every day. And I never saw this episode again. And I was convinced that I wasn't the only person who found it scary, and they just like axed it because it was so creepy.
My favorite episodes when I was a kid of Scooby Doo was the Minor 49er and the robot roller coaster.
The
ones.
robot
Oh,
roller coaster one was good.
remember robot roller coaster? Minor 49er and then the ice cream ghosts.
Yeah,
And-
the ice cream ghosts were so good.
Ice cream ghosts were so
they
good.
made me want ice cream so bad.
Right, every time. But the best thing about my favorite thing when they brought out the live action Scooby Doo movies is the second one, Monster Mayhem.
Because they
whatever
have
the
all
fuck's
the
called.
monsters in it.
They had Minor 49er. They had. I don't think they had the robot roller coaster, but
Nah,
I'm
they
sure
had
they
the
had the ice cream
tar-
ghost.
the tar guy.
thing. Yeah, I went and seen that in the cinema, not expecting anything after the first crap. And I mean, it's still terrible, the second movie, but I was so fucking happy that they at least were like,
There was,
yeah,
there
we're
was
going to go
a
with
little
the-
bit of fan service. You got some hot Velma. Yeah, it was good.
I think that was the first time I got some proper fan service.
The fun meandering movie podcast thing we have is we've recorded a commentary for the first movie. We've just not done anything with it yet.
It's going to go on our Patreon eventually.
Yeah, when we get to that.
We need to get more listeners first. Share this with your friends, guys.
Yeah.
And
you have
to hear a commentary of the first Scooby Doo film.
If you want to hear me drunk and almost die laughing at a fart, it's oh boy, is it worth your
You can
time.
also just go back to episode 5 or, where you're drunk. Or the episode where you talk about Andre the Giant farting for 75 seconds. I don't know what episode that's in, but you laughed for maybe 75 seconds as
my
well.
favorite story.
Such a good
Are
story.
you okay? I am now, boss. Oh man, right. Should we nix this and do a part 2? We'll do a modern take on history on horror history next week.
Sure. Ryan, will you be back for that?
Yeah, I'm just going to watch horror film and then just be a fucking shell of anxiety when I come in.
Listen, I can give
we
you-
give you a couple of the best ones.
I can give you don't listen to his recommendations. I can give you an extensive recommendation list.
We're doing the modern day horror films though, so what are you going to recommend?
Things like The Witch, The Babadook. Maybe
Is the Babadook not the one where they just have to accept it? That sounds really shit.
The Babadook's good.
It's not just a thing in your house.
You said apparently it's good.
No, I said it is good.
You said apparently it's
No, I
good.
said The Babadook's good.
No monster called the Babadook is
It's,
scary.
It's all right.
It's a great movie
Does he have a
because
top hat?
he does.
The
It's-
imagery's good, but it's
It's a great movie because it's one of the best horror movies to approach mental health.
because that's what you want in a horror film. You want to come away and go,
I'm sorry, I want something. I don't want fucking paranormal activity. The door closed. Oh my god! Shite. Utter shite. And we'll get into that next
You
week's
want to
episode.
No. Very quickly.
Thank you for
You want
listening
to do the fucking the Babadook? It's a kid who screams. There you go. That's the whole fucking movie,
Don't
Gavin.
spoil it for him. He's not watched it
It's
yet.
a kid screaming.
I was not planning
Don't
on
watch the
watching it.
Babadook.
My main problem with horror films is like you get to the end and they've gone through the fucking torture dungeon, or they've killed a demon and sent it back to hell, or they've not fallen asleep long enough that Freddy Krueger goes away and they're like, oh, okay, we're safe now. I'm like, you're gonna have fucking PTSD for the rest of your life. Like, you're never gonna sleep again. You're gonna have some serious mental health issues. Like, you're not safe. The thing's just gone away, and also you know those things are there.
Yeah.
Ignorance is fucking bliss.
It's kind of like when Jean-Luc Picard got assimilated by the Borg.
Oh, fuck off. Where's my shoe? I'm throwing it. Guys, that's it. We're going to be back next week with another horror episode. We're going to do the modern day horror
Yeah,
films.
the movies
greats.
you've probably seen and heard of.
Yeah, and I think, what the thing is, what we should do, write our lists of, I think, the best
That's easy.
modern horror movies.
I'll happily do that.
And
Can
what
I
we
do-
like
I
about
can give you
them.
my list right now.
And we'll just go through them and
Can I
just
also
talk
do
about
my list for like the everything before the noughties when the horror movies were good?
We didn't mention The Thing. That was really good.
We have talked about the reason I wanted to kind of skim through most of 40 years quickly is because we've talked about that so fucking
And I'll
much.
continue to talk about it so fucking much because those movies are good and Paranormal Activity is not.
Right, guys, let's wrap. Thank you for listening. We'll be back next week if you want to hear part 2. You can catch us on all the usual social medias.
Yeah,
You want to do it?
yeah.
Ryan, do you want to do it?
Yeah, Ryan.
Yeah, it's the Meander Movie Podcast on Twitter. and
Nope.
Instagram.
Nope, you've already failed.
And it's Gavin Gary's Hot Sauce on Tumblr.
Oh, we should get that. Does Tumblr
And
still
it's,
have that?
That's what we need.
Music is Life on MySpace.
Oh, I need to start that as well. His social medias are better than ours.
Yeah. Get us some more listeners, Ryan.
And they're on LinkedIn. For any lawyers who want some podcasts
I'm
done.
going. Philip, play some spooky ghost noises to put us out this week.
I mean,
Here's a couple.
I was just gonna like.
Whoa!
So-
Give me some chains. Clang, clang.
He's going to do the Marley song again.
Okay, so here's what he's gonna do. He's gonna do none of that. He's got really-
You should just now play
I'm turning into
Simple
Dracula.
Plan Scooby-Doo song.
So go over to Twitter at Meandering Pod, Instagram and Facebook, just search the Meandering Movie Podcast. Gmail is meanderingmoviepodcast@gmail.com. If you're on iTunes, all of this is in the description.
Mental how no one's going to be on iTunes soon.
Yeah, it's
Oh yeah, it's true. I mean, if you're on the Apple Podcast,
Are you getting most of your views from iTunes? Because I might just pack this in now if that's
Well,
No.
no one. Oh come on! I said views.
Okay.
Fuck's sake!
Oh, see.
Let's just go. I'm out.
Damn
Yeah.
it! Peace.
Bye.
It's meandering movies. It's meandering movies. It's meandering movies. So won't you lend an ear?
Clang, clang. Ooh. Ooh.